Let's do this.
Just get my voice warmed up. I mean, maybe watch Miami now.
You can add this to your
Pepsi Max.
But I'll do
Pepsi Max.
He'll
Put
do
it in your mouth.
He'll do a commercial for Pepsi. And then he'll do a commercial for me. And then I'll do the intro, and then I'll tell you for the synopsis.
Just a corporate whore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Meet Your Monsters podcast is brought to you by The Ugly Tree. The Ugly Tree is a comic book series created by Abe Bacon.
That's me.
Sorry, Abram Bacon. It's the story of a young woman who must team up with the horrible monsters to save her family from a madman. The Ugly Tree is a horror comedy. If you like the movies we talked about on this podcast, you'll definitely see their influence in this book. You can check it out at The Ugly Tree on Facebook. The first issue is for sale now, and the second will be available soon.
Oh, my turn now?
Okay. Well, welcome to Meet Your Monsters. My name is Abe. This is my girlfriend, Kathleen.
Hi.
Colby.
Matt?
We're not Abe's girlfriend.
Yeah, we're not all his girlfriends.
Well, I mentioned that we had our anniversary coming up on the last week's podcast, and she said, that's the only time you've ever acknowledged me as your girlfriend on the podcast. And so now I had to make a special effort to say my girlfriend, Kathleen, not just my friend, but my girlfriend.
Well, and now everybody knows why I get to be a part of it. You have to.
I wouldn't have it any other way. For you at home, Meet Your Monsters is a podcast in which I show my friends horror movies that I love, and we find out if they can overcome their fear and love them too, or if they just think my taste in movies sucks. Let's start us off with the sinister synopsis, Matt, if you would.
Sure. Well, this is the 2006 Hills Have Eyes, and it was written by Alexandre Aja, and it was also written by Gregory Levasseur.
That sounds good to me. Lavoisier. I don't know. Lavoisier.
This is based on a script written by Wes Craven, who also produced the movie. And the tagline is, "The lucky ones die first."
That's a pretty sweet tagline.
Yeah.
Who's this Wes Craven guy?
Wes Craven. Sounds vaguely
I
familiar.
think I went to school with him.
Did he do Titanic? Is that the same guy?
I think he worked on Deep Throat. I'm serious. I think he did.
Really?
What the IMDb that one?
I remember. Yeah, look it up and see. But I'm pretty sure he did.
He was the sound department for Deep Throat.
If he did in fact work on Deep Throat, then I've probably seen too many movies. That might be the.
Maybe you just seen Deep Throat a lot.
Okay, what's this movie about? Let's do this.
Well, we meet the Griswolds on another wacky family vacation. No, it's his family traveling through New Mexico.
Wait. What if this movie was a National Lampoon's movie? How fucking awesome!
You know, I thought
It was a gritty reboot that nobody.
I thought, wouldn't it be cool if like Dutch were back from the jungle and were like was like on vacation through the desert?
Okay, though, after fighting a predator, hillbilly mutants would have been no problem.
But he only fought one predator. This is like a town of mutants.
Still, one predator.
It would take him longer, is what I'm getting at. It would be awesome.
Oh, I don't think it'd take him that long. He'd be like, okay, I've been here before.
He'd beat them all with a log.
Okay, sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Alright, yeah, they're on a road trip through the New Mexican desert? Their road takes them through an old government nuclear bomb testing ground.
Their path and take them there, the evil gas station man.
Yeah.
Guided them there because they got hip to...
He sent him on a little detour.
Yeah, he's been doing this for some time, and they got wise to it because she found a purse with a bunch of belongings in it.
She didn't even really get wise to it. She was just like, bag full of stuff, bye.
He kind of suspected that she might have known something, so
yeah, that's why.
He sent him on the bad path.
Well, and her dad is a detective.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
That could cause problems later.
So he sends detective in her blood.
He sends him on a bad path through the bad part of the desert, the one inhabited by crazy killers and their messed up faces. And
looks like he was just part of the documentary Inside Deep Throat.
He didn't actually work on the thing.
It doesn't say anything about him.
I could have sworn that he had something to do with it.
Was the inspiration for Deep Throat?
Yeah. Either way.
What's Craven was?
Yeah.
So yeah, it chronicles their journey as they're terrorized by these mutant hill people. And yeah.
Okay, so
Shorter.
so for the people at home, what Meet Your Monsters is, like I said, I show this to you guys and see if you like the movie. Did you like the movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
No, I did not like the movie
Matt did not like the
at
movie.
all. Sorry.
We should do him for the critical critique.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
say
we know.
something they'll make fun of you?
This asshole didn't like it. What didn't you like?
I guess
Snob.
their intention was definitely to make you feel uncomfortable, and like it was a very intense and gory movie, and they succeeded. It didn't make me feel good.
I think
So
you
therefore
gotta
I
look-
didn't want to watch it again.
You gotta look a little deeper because the family, they kind of hate each other, and so they're growing apart, and so it reminds you to be good to your family because you could watch them be burned by a bunch of mutants and shit.
That's true.
So that's the upside.
Be kind to your friends and family,
Yeah.
because they could get chopped up by mutant hillbillies.
And I think it had an anti-gun message because Big Bob the detective just starts unloading his gun at nothing, and then he gets killed anyway, and then the mutants get the gun and then use it against his family. And
so
then
it's an allegory
little
for gun
Bob,
safety.
yeah, little Bob, he has a gun, unloads the whole magazines, unloads 2 magazines, doesn't hit a single mutant, and then ends up killing him with a camper and some gas.
That hillbilly did use that same gun to
Point at a baby.
take out a good portion of his family.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I did like is that they kept the continuity with the gun. He only fired 6 shots and then it was out. Like,
Yeah.
so at least it didn't have one of those magic revolvers with 20 bullets in it.
Yeah.
You'd think he would have had some more on him, though. They could have rifled through his pockets and taken more bullets.
Yeah, he was just on a road trip to California.
been through
He probably
enough.
wasn't expecting to be in
Yeah.
a gun battle.
The reason I wanted to watch this movie is because Kathleen and I, this was our first date movie, and I really liked it. And during the rape scene, a lot of people were leaving the theater, and she kept making jokes. And that might have been why I thought it was so cool.
The only time I've seen somebody walk out of a movie before was I went and saw The Dark Knight at the cheap seats, and the scene when like he jams that pencil in that guy's eye, a couple got up and left. I was like, "That's it? That's all? Like, that's what could like would? Yeah, like man, that's nothing."
That movie was rated PG-13. What are they walking out for?
Yeah, I was thinking that once the dogs were killed, man, I would have fucking went. Oh, just one dog was killed. That's right. They killed and ate the one dog.
They killed Beauty. Beast was...
Beauty and the Beast.
Really, the movie is the story of a dog named Beast.
Yeah,
His sister
really. He was
gets
the
killed
hero
and
of it.
goes on a
'Cause
crazy killing spree. Of
I
these-
think he has the highest body count in the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think she took out more people than they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have been like RoboCop, just shooting dicks off. I would have ate their fucking organs. I'd become Colby the mutant slayer.
Okay, so my favorite scene in the movie is the rape scene. And for...
You can't say that.
You know, before that, I had the thought that there's a scene when they first get to the gas station. He has to whiz the little Bob, and he goes to pee behind a bush that's right by an outhouse. And his sister's all disgusted, and she's like, "Go pee in the outhouse." And so he's peeing in the outhouse, and he sees like an eye peeping on him, and he gets all nervous and pees on himself, and he just walks past his sister. He's like, "Oh, you pervert!" But like they're like 16 and 17, it would seem to me. Like I'd have been so much more fucking creeped out. Like my sister, like almost adult, is looking at my wiener.
That would have been...
You know,
really
I'd been
weird.
like, "Look, we need to have a talk."
Maybe they're
Let's sit
closer
down.
than that.
Huh?
Maybe they're closer than
Yeah, they've been in like an RV trailer together for way too long.
But like, it wasn't really her though, right?
No,
it was
Ruby.
Ruby.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Let me get back to this rape scene, because I feel like I should explain that.
Yeah, we don't want to
Okay,
deviate
so
from the rape scene.
so maybe it's not technically the rape scene, but after the girl's getting raped, what's the girl from Lost?
Her name's Brenda.
Brenda
in
in
the
the
movie.
movie, yes.
Yeah, her real name's like Emil Raven
Emily
the
de Ravine
Eagle
or something.
like that.
She's got a name that...
Satchel Hawk. something like that. Something very spiritual.
Anyway, We'll stick to Brenda. It's more anyway. So Brenda gets raped, and that's horrific, and it is an awful thing. And then the sister comes back because they hear her screaming, and the guy points the gun at the baby, and he's not gonna outright rape the sister, but he does drink her boob milk. And the reason why I thought that was the coolest thing ever is because these hillbillies are in the desert, and they're fucking thirsty.
I don't know about that.
Now, check this out, right? He rips off a parakeet's head, and he drinks the blood. I feel like they're just starved of any sort of nutrition, any sort of fluid. And so as I was watching that, even though they might have just put it in there to be like, oh, we'll have a drink of boob milk.
Brilliant.
And sure,
they did their mutant research.
Although, yeah, but that's what I'm thinking. It's like, I saw a story about a guy who was lost at sea, and he was able to catch a lot of fish. But what he did was he quit eating the fish after a while and would just eat their eyes. He was just craving their eyes like crazy. And the reason was because they had liquid in them. And his brain just instinctively said, there's water here, eat the eyes. And so he would just crave fish eyes all day. And so I was thinking, this guy might come in and he'd be like, those titties are full of milk. I'm thirsty. And I thought that was really cool. It's like a nice detail. You go, okay, that's not something.
Sense.
Sure, you can overlook it and say they just want to shock people. But
although I've got to say, because we gotta go to give them a description here. They get their tires spiked as they're going off on this trail that the evil gas station guy sent them on, and so they run into a rock in there. So they walk off in separate directions, and the pussy liberal,
Doug.
Doug, he finds this crater. And I even remarked, and not realizing how secretly brilliant that was, I remarked, it's like, man, those cars are in good shape. Well, that's where they're hiding all the cars.
Mm-hmm. That's where they dumped the cars.
And I thought that attention to detail was awesome.
And what was the crater?
Nuclear.
That's right. Yeah, where the bomb went off.
Yeah,
where they were bombing those areas, which got them all the radiation that made them all into crazy hillbilly mutants.
Yeah.
So it was.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was impressed. So maybe it was. They're like, well, they'll be thirsty. What can they drink here? Well, they can drink the parakeet.
Yeah, they drank the parakeet's blood. I mean, they were eating the dog. They didn't just kill it to be
true.
mean. They were eating parts of it, and they were eating people.
They're almost respectable.
Yeah, they're like the noble Indians. They don't like
the noble mutant.
Making balloons and shit out of their bladders.
We used every part of those people.
We live off the nuclear infested land.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think that it's, they did some cool stuff with it.
There is a scene, too, because the dog goes running off, and the little Bob chases after it, and he falls off this cliff and has a concussion, and he's starting to get wise that there's something spooky out in this desert, and he runs and grabs, and their dad's been missing for 6 hours. And he goes and gets his sister and her husband, Doug, and he's all sweating and shit and telling about it, and they're like, oh, there's nobody in those hills. And I feel like if anybody were to come to me at midnight, sweating and shit, being like, oh, there's something out there, I'd be like, well, what do you mean? Describe it to me. But I had the thought, too, that I think I would be and I think that's how I'd go out in the horror movie. I'd be that guy that's well, no, there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for this. And I'd walk off in the desert see, it's just a cat. And bam! Pickaxe in the back of the head.
It's definitely one of those things that it bears looking into.
Yeah.
If someone's I think there's somebody out there. In your best interest is to take a look.
Yeah, but
especially if you have seen your slaughtered dog.
There's
something happened to him.
Evidence.
But the kid, he knew.
Yeah, the kid knew, and he was telling them at the time, and they're still you're kind of crazy.
And he didn't tell anybody because he didn't want to worry anybody. They should have been worried very soon.
Yeah. The more I watch horror movies, the more I think I'd say the guy I'd be I'd watch Reagan's head spin around and green shit spew out, and I'd be like, there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for all of this. Bam, I'd be dead. Bedpost right in the head.
Or at least you get barfed on.
Yeah, something.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell.
No, she just has the flu. It's real bad.
And she's kind of a bitch.
Another thing that I thought was really cool was they cut their tires. They stranded them there, and they didn't immediately go after them. They waited, and I thought that was cool because they probably, based on the amount of cars in their little crater, They've definitely done it a few times.
Yeah.
And they probably learned a few things, like we can't just bum rush these folks because you never know what they've got.
Yeah.
You know?
They probably went through like 12. I'm trying to think of like disgusting names to give each other, like Lung and Finkel or something like that. Turd.
Another thing.
He got knifed. Old Turd got knifed by a ex-Marine that was driving through the desert.
We should classify these monsters too. They fall into the atomic mutation category of monster.
Yes.
Which, I'll just throw that out there. Pretty
Yeah. Which is
Love a
unfortunate.
good
They didn't get
atomic
like any cool powers. They just looked all fucked up.
Yeah.
Except for that one that kind of looked like Sloth but with less teeth. He was real strong.
Well, and I think we're missing a really big theme in this movie, and it's one that's in tons of movies.
The pro-America thing?
Well, no, it's more of how Doug, who's like this little wussy computer guy, once his family's murdered and his baby is stolen, he is forced to become this badass, mutant killing, awesome dude. And I think that's really empowering.
Yeah. That's the way it used to be in
For
the good
skinny
old
men
days.
everywhere, yeah.
Techies everywhere are like, that guy's one of us.
I wish somebody would kill my wife.
Take this fucking baby.
I'd be such a bad motherfucker.
That is a good theme, and that's seems to be a big trope with movies, is the character who is least likely to do the killing is the one who has to man up and do all the killing.
Except for in Evil Dead, because Ash was the baddest motherfucker from beginning.
Some people are born badass, some people become.
Yeah, he's in a category all in his own.
You can't classify that monster.
Super badass.
Just Ash.
Yeah, with Doug, he didn't want anything to do with the guns. He said he was more likely to shoot his own foot off or whatever.
Well, he was a liberal. He didn't believe in guns. Or a Democrat. He didn't believe in guns.
Yeah. Big Bob was a manly man, though. He had like the mustache and hat. He's all bent and crooked and shit.
It's funny you should say that because he's played by Ted Levine, who was Buffalo Bob, not such a manly man.
No,
like
he's
to
Buffalo
tuck his,
Bill.
Buffalo Bill, yeah.
Buffalo Bob was
More man than he wanted
was
to
from
be.
that one, Joe Dirt.
Right.
He could tuck most of that man away.
Yeah, he would tuck his man in and go, would you fuck me? That sort of stuff. You know, dancing to, what was it?
Goodbye, Horses.
Goodbye,
Yeah,
Horses.
cute Lazarus.
Is she that great big fat person? I love that movie. Anyway, that guy's an awesome actor.
Yeah.
So,
And it's always cool to see him in anything, especially more horror.
Yeah.
And this time he got to be like, you know, he wasn't a very
Family
good
man.
detective. I mean, he solved the case and got his
Yeah.
ass beat, but
The other
Lots
category
of sharks
falls
into the
into
dark.
he also falls into the category of like the hero that gets the shit kicked out of him through the whole movie, like like John McClane, and I'm trying to think of other ones that get the shit kicked out of them. But this Doug got fucked up in this movie, and it got me to thinking: who do you think got it worse, Doug in this movie or Jesus in the Passion of the Christ? Because in this movie, like, Jesus got whipped in the face with that thing with the hooks on it, but in this movie, Doug got whipped in the face with those like road spikes. It was pretty fucked. He got his fingers cut off with an axe.
I'm going to go with Jesus on that one.
You think?
Well, he was tortured and then crucified to be tortured more,
Yeah,
and then ultimately died. That's where this guy got in a few good fights and then won.
That's true, yeah. He was
I guess he
victorious.
did win,
Yeah, I mean, Jesus was like,
But he'll never be the same again. Like, he'll always be that weird guy that had to live through that traumatic event.
Jesus, on the other hand, he bounced right back right here.
I'm like, how is he going to raise a normal child now who, like, constantly be afraid of hillbillies, like, no matter where he is? Can't go to any, like, monster truck rally ever again.
That's gonna make for a weird fucking story when they get back home. Like, you hear about Linda? She's fucking eaten by mutants.
What I think would be great is a couple years when his kid's watching Goofy on the Cartoon Network and he's like, oh, yuck, and he fucking blows the TV out.
Yes,
No!
You think I lost these 3 fingers you could not eat?
If you're not gonna eat that, I know some hill people who would love.
Okay, let's move ahead to What is no longer the terrible trivia, but the terrifying trivia?
That is better. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, doesn't make me feel so bad about
trivia.
the job I
Should
do
we
here.
go the parents' guide or the trivia first?
Let's do the trivia, and then we'll add the parents' guide
Okay,
as part of the
that's a new
critique.
segment.
Yeah.
All right. Terrifying trivia. All right. So originally, Wes Craven wanted to shoot this movie in the exact location as the original 1977 version, but when they scouted it out, they found a bunch of condominiums had been built there.
Those fucking yuppies.
So
They should have killed Duggan and they had the chance.
yeah. They ended up moving the filming to Morocco, and I guess they had the set of a gas station built, and they called it Gas Haven as an homage to Wes Craven.
Yes,
Oh.
even
Right.
Wes Craven.
Very clever.
But apparently the gas station was so realistic that people who weren't involved in the film kept stopping by and trying to buy gas.
That's
So I
a
guess they
bummer
did a
for those
super good
people.
job. Yeah,
Like,
what
are
if you
fucking
needed
kidding
it?
me? Like, I'm almost out of gas. You don't have any gas
They
here?
should have made some money on the side and just
Yeah.
sold them some gas.
There's actually 2 Charmed alum from this movie.
Oh, do tell.
Billy Drago, he plays the mutant Papa Jupiter. He played Barbas, the demon of fear from Charmed.
Oh, yeah, that
Is
guy.
anybody excited about that as me?
Naturally.
Which is
I'm trying
funny
to
because I
contain it.
always remember him being a super horrible actor.
Mm.
Like no range at all, and I'm like, oh, I guess it's because he only plays monsters and hillbillies. Like he doesn't really need a range.
Yeah.
But the other one,
It's worth mentioning that Papa Jupiter was the one that got killed by the camper.
who was?
Yeah.
Got blown to shit.
Yeah, and we were talking
Missed
about how
him.
earlier he
Fired like 12
originally.
shots at him and missed, and killed him with a camper.
Well, if he had been actually looking the way he was firing his gun,
He was literally running and shooting behind him without looking.
Originally, he was supposed to have a conjoined twin, but they took that off last minute, so he technically didn't have anything that made him a hillbilly except for long hair and just
Yeah.
like.
and a
Look at
little
that.
Hillbillies don't wear
Yeah.
trench coats, do they?
Well, if you
Well,
find a trench
Toby
coat.
Maybe he had like overalls on underneath the trench coat.
All right, then the other Charmed alumni. Do you guys know who Julian McMahon is?
Mm-mm.
He's the guy from Nip Tuck, the villain from Fantastic Four.
Oh,
He played Cole on Charmed,
Oh,
Phoebe's
yeah.
boyfriend, and he had a demonic form that was called Baltazar, and that was played by Michael Bailey, Michael Bailey Smith, who also played the mutant Pluto.
I was wondering how you're going to loop that background.
I
details
know.
on.
So- I can
So,
connect anything.
Maybe
with Charmed.
that's who got it. They learned to to be more careful about it because if it's only Jupiter and Pluto left,
Yeah, maybe they had
yeah,
the
like
whole
having
solar
like
system
Venus
in
and Uranus and Earth, and Mars, Mercury got it, the Sun.
All right.
there. What else you got?
Michael Bailey Smith also played Freddy Krueger, Super Freddy, in A Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it's 5. Super Freddy.
Is that like
I
Super
remember Super
Shredder
Freddy.
from Ninja
Yeah, that
Turtles
was
2?
him.
Why wouldn't it have been Robert Englund?
I don't know. Super Freddy might have had to be way bigger.
Yeah, like
Oh.
when
This guy's
Kevin Nash
huge.
played Super Shredder in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Okay, cool.
Hmm.
That's good to know.
Kevin Nash also once slammed the Giant before he was the Big Show. I remember that he powerbombed him in WCW.
Cool.
Fun fact. Take that with you.
All right. Greg Nicotero, who plays the mutant cyst in this movie, he also did the makeup and special effects for this film, as well as many others. He plays a walker in The Walking Dead multiple times, but he's the walker that killed Amy in season 1. So memorable spotlight on him. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah,
First,
yeah.
Andrea's sister.
He directs quite a few episodes of that show. He's huge in that show.
Then the coolest thing about him is that his hand can be seen playing Ash's severed, possessed hand in several shots in Evil Dead 2.
This
That's
guy's
his best
cleaner.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Howard Berger own K&B Effects. It's one of the biggest special effects in all horror movies. Everybody loves Greg and Howard.
I just thought it was something that bothered me. The scene when she gets her boobies drank and all that stuff. He shoots their mom, and he's just kind of standing there looking off in another direction, and she grabs a screwdriver and then stabs him in the leg. Why would she have stabbed him in the fucking head?
She was on her knees still. She couldn't
Yeah.
reach.
I would have went for it, at least, because, stabbing him in the leg ain't gonna do shit, Or
Well, at
stabbed
least
him
she
in the
tried.
dick.
Yeah,
Top style.
you know that's
Well,
true.
She probably was, desperate and not necessarily thinking things through. It was just like a knee-jerk reaction. Get this weirdo.
No,
off.
she.
And
You
I
can
think
see
when
she
you
plotted it.
breastfeed,
She
it
grabbed. I got the
depletes your energy,
screwdriver.
so she's probably really tired.
Now, I had something that I want to talk about, which is the movie takes place down below from one of these bomb testing towns, and I just think, how fucked up is it that they make a town full of all these friendly people as a test to see what a bomb's gonna do?
You mean like
It's
the
not a
wooden
military
dummies?
target. It's just like, what if we drop a bomb on a happy little town full
Yeah,
of
that's
people?
true. Like, what would happen if we dropped this on like a bunker? So
Right.
what if we dropped this on like a
Yeah,
apartment complex?
I believe it's historically accurate. They would set up these fake towns and drop bombs on them to see what kind of damage they would do. But I love how it's not a military target. It's a happy town full of people
Yeah.
at breakfast. And
Like, what would
walking
happen
dog.
if this kid
it's
was
kinda-
eating an ice cream cone and got bombed simultaneously?
Yeah, they're going, I know what happens if we drop it on a tank. What happens if we drop it on a happy little town? I just thought it was interesting because I'm like, they really are some sadistic fucks, some of these. I guess they're making things that kill people. So what can you do?
I'm gonna do the Colby count first, and then move into this because they detail all of the deaths in the parental guidance.
Okay.
So this movie featured, there was 12 bodies in this movie. 0 boobs, however.
That's right. Yeah, I
Which
guess
is
that's true. You didn't
unfortunate.
even see nipple.
Yeah.
Only 1 boob.
And so for everyone who thinks the rape scene was so awful, they didn't even make the girl show their boobs or
You know,
anything.
I remember the rape scene as being way more terrible the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
I remember
I-
seeing it. I wasn't like the brightest kid. I was 2006. I was 17. I didn't even realize she was being raped. I thought they were just like fucking with her. And then someone's like, "Man, wasn't that fucked up when they raped her?" And I was like, "They didn't rape her." They're like, "Yeah, what do you think she's doing?" I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, they kind of played it subtly.
Yeah.
And if you look back at just about every Wes Craven movie, there's never really a lot of nudity. I can't think of a single Wes Craven movie where nudity was prominently featured.
Same with Quentin Tarantino. No boobs in Quentin Tarantino movies.
Yeah. And there,
Nothing.
yeah.
Wasn't there something in Django?
You saw his balls in Django.
Who could forget Jamie
And you
Foxx's
see,
balls?
yeah, and you see Bruce Willis's dick in Pulp Fiction,
Pulp
but that's about it.
Oh, in the shower scene.
Yeah,
Yeah. That guy's always flashing his wiener though.
yeah. Yeah, there's a theory I heard that Quentin Tarantino is gay, and it kind of makes sense when you think about it.
I heard he
You
had
never really seen him with a chick, you know?
No, he's dated all kinds of girls. Didn't he date Juliette Lewis for a while?
Well, you just don't really see him
Everybody said
together,
he was
you know?
obsessed with Uma Thurman.
Okay, so the news segment is the parental guide. And this is something I discovered on IMDb. They do a parent's guide for every movie, and they give you, there's categories.
Wait, did you give us the Colby count?
Yeah.
How
12
many?
bodies, 0 boobs.
12 bodies, 0 boobs. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so they give these categories. There's sex and nudity, violence and gore. Let's see, there's a lot of in the violence and gore category. Profanity, alcohol, drugs, smoking, that's all one category, and frightening / intense scenes. And this isn't like professionals they've hired. This is just regular people coming on here like, oh, I gotta let everybody on IMDb know about that scene. So let's see here. In the sex and nudity, we've got a mutant licks a woman's chest and suckles at her breast while holding a gun to her infant. Which is true, that happened. That wasn't that weird. They go over pretty much every death scene here. Say a man is chained to a large rock wall. Flames burst up around him. He screams. People run to him, and he is engulfed in flames. Also, really good attention to detail. Did you notice like his eyes got burnt?
Mhm.
Like that
Yeah,
melted?
Yeah. He like went
Yeah,
blind.
he went
also.
blind
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
One person sprays him with an extinguisher. The man flails and screams. I gotta say, for everybody listening, he was using very poor technique for fire extinguisher. You should use the pass technique, which is pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. You're supposed to pull the pin, aim at the base of the flame, squeeze the trigger, and sweep side to side. He was just kind of willy-nilly blowing that shit all over.
And he
the
didn't
place.
want to
Because
get
he's
in
a
there.
nerd still.
Yeah,
he wasn't a
this
badass
This was
yet.
before his
Yeah,
badass.
yeah.
They didn't train him, and at the cell phone store, wherever he worked at.
He still had weak wrists. He couldn't even hold it together.
Oh dear. A man blows his head off the shotgun. He blows his own head off. They didn't mention that, which is an awesome scene. Like when they blow his head off, like he's got a bloody stump just sitting there. It's awesome.
In the shitter of all places.
Yeah.
If you're gonna shoot yourself, the shitter's the
It's
place
nice
to
doing the
do it.
shit. You can just kind of like push everything into the bowl, like for the cleanup.
Yeah. I could have just flushed him.
Let's see here. A man finds a charred body with a flag sticking out of his head, which is awesome because then he then used the man who finds that is Doug, and he uses that to stab the big
Cyst.
cyst.
Yeah,
cyst
Greg
is
McCarroll. Right through the throat.
Stabs him through the throat with it. And then, like, it's kind of seen, like, almost waving through there. And I thought, that movie was only made, like, 5 years after 9/11. And remember, like, in Spider-Man, there's that whole scene where he's, like, hanging off the flag.
Well,
that was there.
It was in Hollywood contracts, so there had to be an American flag in every movie.
Yeah, and you had to use it in
for
a
10
badass
years
way.
after
You couldn't
September
just sit in
11th.
the background. You're like, you gotta stab a motherfucker or Spider-Man up that thing. Okay, let's see here. Dog bites the throat of a mutant man. A mutant man.
Dog bites the throat off a mutant man.
Okay, this one they just got dead wrong. It says a mutant person's arm is shot off, which isn't true. The dog bit it off and brought it to him with the walkie-talkie still in the clutches.
They mentioned the fish death in the beginning because that was pretty
They
graphic.
killed the fish.
Yeah,
That's fucking cold-blooded.
it was
Man.
messed up.
Man, there's a lot of animal killings in this one. The
Yeah.
parakeets,
Two
the
parakeets
fish,
got
the
it.
dog.
Oh, I guess that one parakeet, we're not sure if he got it, just kind of punched it.
Yeah, well, it probably didn't survive it.
Well,
Parakeets aren't
it
known
didn't
for
survive
taking
the
left hooks too
explosion.
well.
Nobody seemed to care
That's
about
true,
getting
they-
him far away from it.
he did explode, also.
A mutant man hits another mutant man in the head with a gun. And then
You
begins
gotta quit saying
attacking
mutant man.
a woman who hits him. I'm not going to stop saying it if I'm still saying it here. Then begins attacking a woman who hits him with a pillow. He hits her with a pillow and headbutts her and tries to pry her leg apart. Man opens a box that contains a severed bloody ear. That's true.
Not just a box, like a fast food box.
Yeah, it's a styrofoam.
Yeah, I was thinking, where'd they get such a new container? I guess probably out of one of those cars.
Yeah.
Like someone just
Yeah.
went to Steak and Shake or something.
I just thought that it was really nice that the mutants were thinking about him. Like,
Yeah.
we should
Yeah.
save him something.
Here's your
We
loot
have
and
leftovers.
snack.
He looks all protein deprived. Let's give him some.
I just hope there's not a parent that like is reading through this list and like gets to the end of it and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
A mutant
My
man.
kid will not watch that.
A mutant
It's so
man.
good.
A mutant man jumps on a man and then they fight. One is hit in the face with metal tines. I guess that's what you call those things. I just knew them as like road spikes.
Oh, times.
One is head-butted. One is slammed to the ground several times and lies very bloody and unconscious.
He lies very bloody.
These parents really get specific. They want people to know about
I like how they
these
call
movies.
it Parents Guide, because like if you're a parent and your kid's like under 16 taking this movie, like there's something like clearly you don't give a shit about the IMDb review of it.
Well, it's definitely an R-rated movie.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I just feel like kids are going to find a way to watch the movie they want to watch, whether they have their parents' permission or not.
That's true.
Yeah.
This one was my favorite. It's in the profanity section. Many F words, tons of obscene gestures, which I don't know what they're talking about. Like, did one of the mutants give the other guy a finger or something?
I think they
There
were
was
doing
some
the
pelvic
X-Pac.
thrusting.
Yeah, suck it. It says here, many F words, tons of obscene gestures, a few religious people would not be happy about due to their context.
Would any
So-
religious
Yeah.
people be happy about
I'm
it?
saying, like, if you're religious, don't go see this movie because it is not in line with your beliefs. Like, you will not be happy. at the end of
Praise
this.
Jesus for smiting those hillbilly mutants.
You could just see the poster and know you wouldn't want to see it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to research it at all. Just like,
Yeah.
oh, a dragon body, probably not for me. You know?
This one is where it gets really creepy. It's the same warning as the profanity one. It says, and some sexual implications of incestuous nature maybe. A son to his mother, and he accuses his sister of being a pervert, thinking she was watching him use the restroom. So they're talking, like, they cleared it up. They are talking about little Bob, And I don't remember any...
I got it.
When he
They
talks
were
about
eating
the...
dinner?
Yeah. She said something about big snakes, and he said it was a Freudian comment because he's implying that his mom likes
How
huge
the fuck
cocks.
would that be incestuous?
Because it's a son talking.
He's like, she wants my rattlesnake.
Yeah, I don't think he was necessarily implying that he had the huge wang that his mom wanted, but just that his mom had a thing for, huge wangs.
Because that's how we all talk to our moms.
Yeah. Although I will say, for the record, my mother has told me some stuff I wish she had.
And this is the final one. This is under frightening and intense scenes. And they get a rating of 1 through 10 about like how disturbing this might be. The frightening and intense scenes, they got a 10 out of 10 on this one. But it says here, they enjoy torturing humans in any way, shape, or form, and do so graphically in this movie. This includes lighting people on fire and eating people. That's pretty much the gist of the movie right there. It's them eating people and they light one guy on fire. Big Bob. Although his mustache stayed intact when he was being...
That was some fucking mustache.
He had a mustache implant. Like wire brush.
It's just metal.
Let's move on to the critical critique here, if you're all done with the parental
I believe
guidance.
I am.
You've notified the parents about this
It
film.
really bums me out because I wish we can go back and do these for all of our movies, but what can you do?
Okay, so the critical critique is where we take a critic who talks shit about this movie and we talk shit about them. For today, it's Matt, you bastard. How dare you? No. This is a guy named Ruben Safaya.
Let's congratulate Matt on his last ever episode of
The farewell episode.
Happy trails.
Farewell episode of Matt. Yeah. This is Ruben Safaya from Cinemalog, and I was reading this and I thought, man, this guy is a fucking snob. Okay, it says, the scene that the people had the greatest displeasure with, and that's putting it exceedingly mildly, were extraordinarily misogynistic in nature. Have you ever noticed how in borderline snuff horror, the camera dwells most on the torture and suffering of beautiful women? I was previously wondering the same thing watching Wolf Creek. In both movies, not even a tenth of the time is devoted to the humiliation, terrorizing, and agonizing slow maiming of male victims. Apparently he didn't see the part in the movie where they fucking fried Big Bob.
Yeah,
right?
For a while.
For like 5
everybody
minutes, the
watched.
guy's cooking in agony and burning. I suspect it's because...
Wait a minute. Also, let's not forget about Doug getting his fucking fingers chopped off, hitting the face with railroad
Right,
spikes,
tortured.
Hit with the butt of a gun. He got fucked
He was
up.
locked in a fucking freezer full of chopped up body parts.
Yeah.
You know?
The worst part of the freezer wasn't
Sexy
even working.
woman, Bobby.
Sexy woman.
That's true. Yeah. Was a nice set of knockers. In
Yeah.
that.
And he goes on, he says, I suspect it's because the violence as a power game is employed by these directors with an almost sexual fervor.
Like they're trying to pick up chicks. This movie.
They get off on the torture of sexy women. And to infer such sexuality exists between the director and the characters they exploit for sadomasochistic titillation would imply a degree of homosexuality. I think this review implies a degree of homosexuality.
This is the gayest shit ever. They killed a bunch of women.
They wish to avoid being associated with. While that's not necessarily the definition of homophobia, it certainly exceeds the minimum standards of defining bigotry and chauvinism. See, I think this guy just wanted to write fancy words.
Yeah. Yeah, just to throw us out, and he's like, bad women. Misogyny.
If there is any kind of message in this film, it must be that deformity equals evil. I don't think that he really had a problem with the deformity. It was the fact that they were murdering folks.
Yeah,
I
and
was
like
gonna
a
say,
lot
Ruby
of the
wasn't
mutants.
evil.
And
Yeah.
those two little kids
Yeah,
were like...
Ruby was the saving grace. She saved the baby.
Yeah, and like they had the two kids with the fucked up heads. Were like, "You want to play with us?"
Yeah, they
like
were
they were
perfectly
nice.
cool.
They invited him to play. They
Ruby
didn't...
was the most normal, therefore sexiest mutant.
That's true.
I could go with that. I don't think she's of age, you pervert.
No, she is. That's her mutation. She just looks really little.
She just looks
She's like
young,
45.
Yeah, so this guy was more concerned about writing this shitty review than watching the fucking movie.
I'm just gonna start calling movies gay in really eloquent ways all the time, like the director's gay, like in Titanic. That ship was clearly a dick.
Clearly a phallic symbol. Clearly a dick being snapped.
Yeah,
in
I guess
half.
dick would be very eloquent, wouldn't it? I got pretty good stories for dick.
Okay, he says...
Implying a relationship with his father.
Just to be sure I wasn't generalizing, I found a built-in proof. Gradients of depravity. The Carter family member capable of the most violence in retaliation to the mutants is the one who is already established as demonstrably more selfish than the others. You know how you can tell who the mysteriously benevolent deus ex machina of the mutated family is? She's less deformed than the others. So at least he acknowledged that Ruby existed. There's always a feeble kind of morality play inherent in horror. Example, sex and drugs at camp will get you killed. Scientific tampering with nature is immoral and therefore evil. Ugly people are bad, etc.
Sounds about right.
I think in high school.
One could deconstruct almost every horror film as a PSA for focus on the family. Aja so relentlessly hammers the audience that by the time the hero shot comes along, the audience is either too depressed, too offended, or simply too desensitized by the barrage of violence to even care that someone made it out alive. To describe this film as pornographically violent is an affront to pornography. There's no psychological, intellectual, dramatic, and aesthetic gain enjoyed by the audience. The ending is an insult put on. Why even waste the celluloid attempting to have an uplifting conclusion in a film so intentionally repugnant? The audience has already checked out by the time the mother watches her oldest daughter defiled in ways I won't describe, so as not to sensationalize or further publicize a movie so utterly worthless as this. What a fucking prick.
Yeah, what a dick. You know, it's funny, I saw that review on Rotten Tomatoes, and the only thing Rotten Tomatoes put on it was to call this movie pornographically violent is an affront to pornography. Which is kind of true. Because, like, I don't know, I don't want to think about The Hills Have Eyes and porn in the same.
There was nothing remotely pornographic about this. Like I said, there was one rape scene that didn't even show any nudity.
We need to send the guy the copy of my Colby count, because there are clearly no breasts in this movie.
Yeah,
I
way
would've
more
noticed.
violence, you know. And he's wrong at another point, too. The mom didn't watch the girl get defiled. The rape was over before the mom even got back.
Yeah.
She walked in and she got fucking shot. That was it.
She's probably too busy
She tried
thinking,
to save her daughter with a rock and...
Yeah, I think she hit the guy with a pan. So she wasn't just standing there watching. She was fighting.
Man, that guy's got the skull of a mountain goat. He got hit in the head, hit the frying pan twice.
He got shot 3 times with a shotgun and it didn't kill him.
Yeah, stabbed in the leg and he still
Lizard.
wait for it.
So go back. How did he suss out homosexual undertones from this movie?
No, he was saying that that directors are afraid to give as much attention to the torture of men because it would be homoerotic.
Is
because
Wes Craven gay?
No, I don't know. Who cares?
There was a gay meter online who got a 69%. So
Really?
Does it only go to 69? Is that...
But I think what people forget is that the reason that horror comes about is because the very nature of an exploitation movie is that you don't have a big star, you don't have a lot of money. What you can sell them is violence and boobies. Yeah. The reason people watch horror movies, myself especially, the reason I make horror comics is because I enjoy violence and boobies. Yeah. It's fun, you know. Throw a wang in there like Slaughter High from time to time. Fuck it, cool, whatever.
I prefer you didn't, but if you got to.
You know. It's just fun, and that's what a review like this always pisses me off, because like this guy probably spent more time writing this shitty review than watching the movie and having a good time.
Yeah.
If you don't like the movie, fuck you.
Yeah.
Watch something else.
So, and really, couldn't
conclusion,
you just sum it up with, I don't like this movie. It was too gory for me, or something like that. But he had to go on about it's gay, it's goddamn pornographic, it's.
Well, that's the thing. He's complaining that it wasn't even gay enough, because if they had put the attention into the torturing of the men, then it would have been gay enough for them.
Bobby did ask somebody to give him a Twinkie at some point. Which is a lot
know
of
what
gay.
that
Little
means.
twink undertones.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get this Twinkie in my mouth.
And I will say, just to mention, it would have passed the Bechdel test, if you guys know what the Bechdel test is.
Yeah,
You know that
it would have.
What's the Bechdel test?
Bechdel test is from feminists who the movie has to have 2 women who both have a name, and they have to be talking to each other about something that isn't a man. and that's what feminists look for in a movie. They pass. The girls talk to each other. There's plenty of girls talking.
So maybe it's lesbian.
Maybe it didn't pass them because
No,
they
I did,
talk
'cause-
about their anniversary with her husband.
But the mother talked to the daughter about,
The
just
Chronic.
the chronic.
Well, we all talk about the Chronic.
So it's more of a lesbian movie than it is a gay movie.
But anyway, in conclusion, Ruben, Sophia, fuck your review.
Guys, I don't
I'm gonna
I
wipe
didn't
my
want to
ass
tell
with
you
it
this,
later.
but the twist is I'm
You're
Ruben Senpai.
Fuck you, man! I knew it.
He's got a whole page of notes about how gay this movie was.
This movie wasn't gay enough.
Yeah, it seems to be. It wasn't gay enough for the guy.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of. Oh, he should watch. But there's a
Movie with
movie
the vampire.
that
It was
was
gay as hell.
definitely some homoeroticism. There's a movie by Greg Araki called The Doom Generation. Plenty of homoeroticism in that one,
Yeah.
and plenty of gore too, if he likes that sort of thing. Anyway, fuck that guy's review. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. So I guess Predator went past the Bechdel scale, would it?
One girl in Predator.
One chicken Predator.
But Predator is the best movie ever, so
Yeah, that's true.
fuck the Bechdel test when it comes to that.
Yeah. How gay was that? What do you think that movie? That guy, Ruben Studdard, whatever his name is?
Ruben Studdard.
America's
Sophia.
Sweetheart.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you're the only person in America who remembered that guy's name.
I thought that movie was gay, though, because this guy had a bunch of shirtless dudes in it.
Oh, Predator is so homoerotic. It's just like all these muscular guys like building some Boy Scout traps. They're all like, pull this
Yeah.
rope and get this tree. And boy, it's sweaty here.
Shaking
And
hands
the
really
kissing.
hard.
Yeah, and the kissing.
Yeah, kissing was a bit much, but
There's a part where they tickle each other.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's a scene, you can check this out, where the corpse is hanging and one of them puts their dick in the mouth.
I'm gonna miss you, Billy.
Yeah. Billy, what are you doing?
Director's cut.
He's dead, Dutch Shore. Okay, so what we have left is the Quetzalcoatl. I found a quote that I thought was kind of good. There wasn't a lot of good quotes in this one.
You know,
I
that's
gotta
because,
say.
like, it's a lot of mutant mumbling and a lot of, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
They're not the most sophisticated ones.
My favorite quote was probably "Goggle, goggle." but the one I got was, "I'll take my bullets over your prayers every day." I
yeah.
can get behind that.
yes.
Yeah, Big Bob was a bad motherfucker. It's too
Yeah.
bad he got it. He was kind of like Jesse Ventura and Predator. He was
No,
like that. He was similar. He had a mustache.
they did both.
He was
have
the taller of the group.
Both had 2 eyes. Yeah.
They both wore hats.
He's
at
called
some point.
Big Bob, and then in Predator, she calls him the Big Man. When the Big Man was killed, his blood was on the leaves. So
Yeah. See?
they're identical. They could be twins.
My favorite quote in this movie is there's a guy called Big Brain, and he's in his wheelchair, and his brain's like hanging like off, still in the skull, but
He was
anyways,
hanging brain.
yeah.
He was free braining it.
Well played, man.
He just starts laughing, and he says it's breakfast time, and then the big Venus or whatever the hell is Uranus, yeah, that guy. He busts through the wall and tries to eat him.
That motherfucker could break through a wall, though.
Yeah,
There's like
that's
2
true.
times he just busts right through. Like,
Yeah.
rah. He
Which-
looked like a. Remember that video game Double Dragon where those big ass dudes would just bust through the brick walls?
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And
Yeah.
going back to paying attention to detail, the reason he could do that so easily is that they were fake houses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're show homes.
Yeah, they were those test houses for the nuclear bomb.
It's like Arrested
I'm
Development.
pretty sure you could do that in a regular house, too.
Well, some houses,
Pretty
yeah.
awesome.
When I was a kid, we used to play at this abandoned house, and I did that through some sheetrock one time.
He ran through it?
Yeah, I just was like, "Pata!" and just busted through there. And I had all that white chalky dust all
Yeah.
over me. Like, that was stupid.
I bet it looked cool.
It looked
Yeah,
cool to
pretty
me. I don't know.
badass.
Yeah, I think the only one with me was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
It's Kool-Aid in it, man.
Yeah.
What the fuck does it look like? in
There
real
was
life?
this big Kool-Aid looking stain on the floor that we used to always tell everybody was blood. Because you always want the abandoned house
Oh,
to be
yeah.
creepy. So
Yeah.
like,
Definitely.
there's that blood stain. Why is it pink? Fuck you.
Yeah, we had an abandoned house like that, and there's like this like brown shit on the wall. We're like, oh, that must be blood from a satanic ritual, but really, I think it was like Dr. Pepper. Someone squirted Dr. Pepper in there, and I found out my brother and his friends just like break in there and drink 40s and shit when they're like 16. So
Nice.
it's probably like them. Just
This is probably Colt 45 on the wall.
yeah.
Now, the reason I like this movie, and you could say, okay, it doesn't really make you root for any of the good guys, and maybe that's a failure in the sense that, like, you know, you don't really care for the hero because he's kind of a dick at the beginning. You don't
The real
really,
hero was Big Bob.
the real hero was the
Beast.
fucking Beast, yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
true. Imagine if Big Bob and Beast had lived through the movie. It would have been a goddamn
yeah, they should have stuck
mutant
together.
slaughter.
But you can't root for the hillbillies like you do Jason or Freddy, because obviously they're creepy rapist baby snatchers.
Yeah.
And you can't really root for the good guys because all you really end up with is the kid and his sister and that whiny brother-in-law who's annoying through the whole movie. But at the end of the movie, I was really excited, and I was really, like, he was forced to react in a way that was out of his nature, and he transformed, and that's what you're looking for, is that transformation. And I think at the end of the day, it was cool. It was a cool movie.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch,
good
lots of
character
blood.
arc.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I enjoyed it.
Any last words? Anybody have anything?
Still haven't come up with a name for that last segment where
Oh, yeah.
the
Oh
required.
yeah, Matt's philosophical.
Yeah. But there really wasn't too much that I saw going on except for something that Colby touched on earlier where...
My wiener.
Well, yeah. By the way, you really need to put that thing away. It's really awkward that you have that out while we're talking.
I'm not starting watching from the bathroom.
But yeah, it was America who kind of screwed over the mutant hillbillies, but you know the message seemed to be, well, fuck you, America, all the way anyway. When he stabs him through the head and throat with an American flag.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like the American way is right no matter what.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, there was that very, like, sad story where they were forced out of their homes, and the ones that refused to leave got nuked and turned into crazy mutants. Probably should have left.
But what if they were offering them, like, we'll give you like this 3-bedroom, like, or no, this 3-story house in this really nice neighborhood, and they're like, no, fuck you, we're gonna mine.
The theme there is, if America tells you to move, get the fuck out of there, or you're gonna turn into this crazy ass. Like, look at all the fracking of people's water turning like
Yeah.
flammable.
America only asks once, and then you get the fuck out.
Oh my god, that should be on a T-shirt. I'm not even like the go-go patriotic person, but that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I could see my dad wearing that on a T-shirt with a flag on it, you know. Me in my
Badass
Navy
bumper
days
sticker,
or
yeah.
whatever.
But yeah, that's all I've got.
Yeah. Maybe not the kind of movie like Leprechaun where everyone's giddy afterwards and it's so much fun to watch. It's kind of hard to
Yeah.
watch at a time, you know,
Yeah.
but I enjoy the movie.
It was hard for me to watch.
Heavy-handed.
Well,
I was fine with it. Every bit of it.
Really? Oh, man.
what did you think of the movie? You haven't said much.
I liked it. It has everything you could ask
A
for.
fine first date movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really romantic.
I'm like, oh, did you see the way he caressed her boobs while he was raping her?
That's where the sparks really flew.
Yeah. Yeah, there was definitely some chemistry between Lizard and the screaming mother with the baby.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, that is the end of Meet Your Monster for this week. Thanks to you guys for watching this crazy movie with me and hanging out. And thanks to the people at home for listening. If you want to follow along, next week's movie will be Hatchet.
And be sure to like us on Facebook. Facebook.com/meetyourmonsters.
Is that up and going?
It will be by the time we get this out.
Right.
I was like, this is the first time I've heard of it.
Yes, Meet Your Monsters at Facebook.
Actually, by the time we get this out there, Facebook won't even be around anymore. Like post-apocalyptic.
It'll be
and
back
shit.
to MySpace.